Hey everyone, so if you're like me who absolutely hates braided, computer cables, especially on a lot of gaming hardwares that you find, for gamers, I don't know why this is a good idea. It's very cumbersome, it's heavy, and it drags the mouth around like crazy. So if you're like me who hates braided cable but does love the hardware that came with it, what you can do is get your X-Acto knife out and a pair of scissors. You can actually remove this braided line and expose the actual cable that's under there, which is so much better. Like, this is the actual cable that's under the braided line, okay? Now, I know this applies to this particular Logitech G303 Gaming Mouse, but do it at your own risk, because maybe some other products does not have a regular cable wrapped inside the braided line. But I almost certain that most products is gonna have a regular cable wrapped under. So what I do first is just use the X-Acto knife and go at the edge and try to find some points to poke around and like cut the cord, cut the cable, cut the fiber. Try not to try to cut from inside out instead of cutting in, because you're actually gonna damage the cable itself. So I just find some points on the wire to just poke around and then just pull it out. Like, eventually you'll be able to get part of the cable out without damaging the cable itself. And then we're gonna be using sorry, I'm not even pointing to the correct place. Then we're gonna use the scissor to actually just cut the rest of the braided wires. Super annoying braided wires. Okay. And be very careful with your hand. You don't want to cut your hand either. Like, for me, I just go along the shape of the actual cable inside, and then just turn the X-Acto knife and then pull it out. That's how I does it, but everybody could be different. So and have some patience, because it's not a right away thing. For me, like, this is almost it looks like it's almost 50% done. I just need a little more wires to be cut out. Have patience and be very careful, okay? So basically what you're doing is just freeing the outer braided cable. And over at this area, it's quite thick. Now I kind of exposed a lot, kind of exposed the inner cable now, which means it's almost ready. So I'm gonna continue to work on this. Let's see. So as you can see, I'm working my way out, and here's the exposed part. So almost done. I'm just gonna do a few more pokes and right here, last few strings. Okay, so when you have this part exposed, sometimes you'll be able to just immediately move it around, because it's kind of compression fitted. But if you don't work around the edge of the cable, you start working in the middle. Sometimes the cable will be easier to remove. Like over here, as you can see, it's moving around freely, because it lost this compression. So I can just like press it a little more and then it just goes all the way to the other end. So like right over here, I'm actually just gonna push it back here. And when it goes like this, that's when you're gonna have your scissor out and just start cutting around, because you have more room to play around. Like, see, right now the cable is really thick, so you just have your scissor ready and just cut from, you know, the bottom part. And I wouldn't worry too much about cutting the cable because it's pretty thick, so just cut from the top. Again, do this at your own risk, but I'm telling you that I am getting rid of this braided cable line on my G303. And of course, your other option is go wireless. Then you don't ever have to worry about braided lines anymore. And as you can see, the progress is really quick. Like, I already cut a lot. I already cut a lot of those fabrics out. Just have some patience and start cutting and cutting, and eventually you'll cut everything out. You know, cut and check, just to make sure you're not cutting the cables. And the fabric, when it comes out, it's kind of like that. Kind of scary looking, I would say, but just cut your way out. And be careful. So as you can see, I only have just little parts left to cut. And I have a plastic bag that I actually put all my cutout fabric away. And continue work. Oh, there's my cat. Continue my way out and finish cutting the entire line. So again, use your X-Acto knife somewhere in the middle of the cable. I think it's a much easier approach than actually cutting from the edge. But either way works. You just need a little more patience to have the cable completely detached to the. Have the outer layer completely detached to the cable. And that is at least how I do it to remove the braided line. Here, I'm gonna finish this. So again, if you compress it, you'll have a lot more room to work around, and not, you know, and won't be cutting the actual cable by accident, because you can almost hold the cable under while have your top of your scissor on top of the fabrics, which is fantastic. Okay. As you can see, one long line, and just the last part. So I only have this little left to cut. Almost done. Here we go. Now, you just successfully, I guess, you know, successfully removed the braided lines. Of course, there are some areas left that's kind of, you know, ugly looking. You can always fine tune those and make it nice and neat, but I'm just gonna leave it like that. And of course, over here I have, you know, another small part. I still have braided line, but it doesn't matter much because it's compressed right inside and it's not gonna touch anything. So there you have it. Here's my method of removing the braided cable lines on your, you know, gaming computer gaming equipments. If you guys have any questions on how to remove the braided cables, feel free to ask me in the comment section. and I'll help you. I'll help answer your questions as much as possible. Again, thank you so much, and take care.